Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for My Hero Academia Season 8, Episode 10. We are in the post-fight last few episodes of the show. I did hear some kind of bad news I didn't fact check it myself, but it sounds like there is supposed to be a 12th episode, but it's going to be an OVA that comes later, which is just really weird that they're just delaying one episode before the show being done. As much as I love the show and I'm biased towards liking it in whatever it does, I gotta say I'm a little bit salty about that one. But yeah, I guess it is what it is. So there's that. At least that's what I've heard. But anyway, yeah, we saw a lot of aftermath stuff. Toya is still alive apparently, so the Todoroki family is going to be visiting him. We had just Bakugo in tears and hearing that Midoriya gave up his power and he's back to being quirkless. Granted, he still has some embers he can use. We don't know how long those will last, but yeah, it was a very impactful episode, and I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with the last two. So we're gonna start here, guys, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now. Ah, yes! Oh, they get to see each other again. Oh, you're free to go. Let's go. Oh. Damn. Oh. Alright. She's just like, I'm gonna chill in prison a little longer. I don't gotta think about responsibilities and shit. You know, I know this is like messed up to think about. It's kind of one of those intrusive thoughts where you're like, I would never actually feel this way, right? But one of those intrusive thoughts where it's like, it kind of would be nice to just be in prison where you don't have to think about like making ends meet day in and day out. You just kind of eat when you're fed, you know? But obviously prison is not fun. Don't go to prison, guys, just because you want to. Just because those intrusive thoughts tell you to. Man, I always take a nap before I record, and I usually record 2 episodes, but I'm not gonna have time tonight because I apparently didn't set an alarm for my nap and woke up way later than I should have. So, good times. I, like, woke up from like a coma. I woke up, I was like, it feels like I've been out for a while, and I look at the time and I'm like, oh shit. Oh. Look at his eyes. Old people are always saying that. Couldn't someone have done something about this? Not me, but someone else. Hmm. Oh. Gives me... This reminds me of where the first holder met. Ah. Is Spinner back to his senses? He looks very angry. He kind of looks badass with the scar and the, like, cut hair on the side. What he wanted him to say. Hmm. Interesting. Uh-oh. Midoriya's not even concerned. Damn. Hmm. Interesting. I don't know if this is supposed to help him or make him, like, follow in Shigaraki's footsteps. Those clothes are the real hero. Hmm. You do you, boo. Damn. Serious Midoriya face. Hey. Hitting up Choji with a message. Nice. Like, they always talk about the comic books where the heroes win and everything. Maybe one more about the villain. Oh, he's awake. We're hitting up some of the villains this episode. giving them an ending. I didn't pick up on the trend with Labrava and uh, Nagant because I went to Spinner and I didn't realize that's what hell was happening. Okay. Yeah, how to prevent things, not just save people from them. Ah, the new kiddos. Explaining why we didn't see. Oh my god. Expel them! The first years are so extra. They were hiding behind him. Hmm. Like hell it is. Yes, that's what they can't abide. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Hmm. Interesting. She keeping an eye on Midoriya and his reactions and stuff. Mid card already. Damn. Already halfway done. I'm sad. I'm sad, man. One more episode after this, and then whenever we get that OVA someday. Best Genius got some darker denim. Whoa. Okay. I never intended to settle for less. Alright, so Headshot lived. Nice. Oh. Yeah, everyone home. Where was the last time we saw a bus? Oh. Ah, nice. The new class. They insisted really hard. Help with cleaning and rebuilding. I didn't notice the horse guy before. We already ate. Hmm. She hasn't said much. Hmm. I feel like there's more to it. Are we gonna have like a feelings reveal for the typical anime fashion of an? Uh-oh. She's thinking about Toga. Oh, damn. Midoriya gonna come talk to her. Jeez. Hmm. That is some tears. Oh. Damn. Shit. Oh. I flew here. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Edits. My hero level of tears, alright. But it's a nice scene. Definitely a quirk that could have been used for good. Oh, this is what she usually says. Oh. Yeah, it's the essence of being a hero. Not what he said, but... Oh my god, the whole class. Okay. Thought it was gonna go out, but he still's got a little bit. Used... Maybe used off. Yeah. Oh, they don't know. Well, damn. Even Aizawa showed up. Oh, man. Just a couple droplets, don't, nothing too bad. Oh my god. They've got statues. Bus. Oh, she's always so adorable. Her horn isn't back yet, but doesn't mean it won't regrow. Oh, man. That honestly kind of felt like... I've been hoping we get a time skip episode, you know? I wonder if we'll get a them being older next episode, because that kind of felt like it could have been like the ending, you know, where it's like I've completed One for All's mission, you know. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'm really curious. We still got one more and then the OVA, right? Whatever that comes out. Oh man, all right. So the first half of the episode was kind of going through the villains, and seeing like where are they now, you know. So we have Gentle and Labrava, as well as Nagant, who have all been um released thanks to their contributions. It seems like Labrava and Gentle are taking it in stride, you know. They're like, yeah, we're out of jail, man, let's go. But Nagant is more like, I think I'm gonna stay in prison. Like, I was already used in the outside world. I'm kind of scared. Ooh. Oh. Uh-oh. What is this? Uh-oh. Interesting. That is it, guys, for episode 10. Huh. Well, you know the vibes I get from that after credit? I get the vibes that he's gonna be someone who's either on the verge of becoming a villain or is a villain, someone that needs help that we need to save. But I think because it's like one more episode, it's like it'd be weird just to have our kids in their current age doing it. My prediction is we're gonna see that person like hurting and struggling or whatever, and the people that come to save them, it's gonna end up being older versions of our characters. And that's how it's gonna lead us into realizing they're gonna like surprise us with the flash forward, right? By having them like show up as heroes as adults, you know? I could be wrong, but I hope that's what we get to see. Um but anyway, what I was saying was Nagant wanted to stay in prison because uh she was manipulated when she was free before. She's worried that might happen again. It kind of scares her and worries her a little bit, you know, so I get it. Um, so she's gonna stay in for a while longer. I guess it must be nice to just be able to like as much as prison must suck, but if you're in there by your own choice and you know that you could just make a phone call and get out at any time, you know, just kind of chill, no responsibilities, and just, you know, fuck around for a little bit, you know. But but yeah. Anyway, we went to Chisaki as well, where what he all he wanted to do was see the boss again, you know, and he got to, but the boss was awake and all that. So it was nice that the boss was even like, I'm gonna keep looking after you, make sure you don't like stray again, kind of deal. Or at least that's the feeling I got. I'm pretty sure he said I'm gonna keep watching you or whatever, but I don't think he said like to keep you from straying down the wrong path or whatever. They were also just a gang before. We gotta remember that. Like as much as the boss seems to be like a decent guy, he only looks like a decent guy next to Chisaki. They were still a gang, you know, so the Chie Hisaikai, or however you say it. But yeah, so that was an interesting wrap up for that character. And then we jumped into Spinner. Now, I will say, my like, I understand the deeper meanings of some of the things uh, that Spinner was saying, but there is the level of like looking at it a little deeper in my own mind where I'm just like, uh, I was just like, I don't know how I feel about what he's saying. Because he's basically saying, like, oh, like, yeah, he was a villain and he did bad things, but he also liked video games and so did I, so, you know, and I get he was his first friend and everything, but my god, there's a lot of people in the world that like video games and don't go around killing people, and you could have became friends with a lot of them, so, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's surface level. I know there's deeper meaning into what's being said there, you know. People have pain, people have different circumstances that lead them to becoming what they become and everything, and, you know, he ended up being a shut-in where no one really reached out their hand to help him, and it's kind of like what Midoriya, I think Midoriya was the one that said it, is like, how can we prevent some of these things from happening? It goes back to Mirio's speech too, where we bring things back to zero, right? We bring things from negative back to zero, but we need to try to find a way to push push the envelope into the, you know, push it into the positive. And I think Midoriya is thinking about that too, where it's like, yeah, like these villains show up and ruin things, and we beat the villains, and then we try to build things back up to the way they were before, but how do we improve upon it? How can we build on society and make it better, you know? So, uh, it's a cool theme for a show like this where, you know, a lot of hero shows are like that, you know, where they're just fixing the bad things that spontaneously pop up, but maybe when there aren't any bad things, our characters need to find a way to help people, reaching out to the community and stuff like that. But they're also heroes in a world where there's a lot of villains, and sometimes you just don't have the time to, like, take to go do something more positive rather than just stopping hero or villains the whole time, you know? But, yeah. It's really interesting. It makes me want to, like, strive to try to, like, do better with the world. Honestly, there have been times where I've thought about just, like, going and clean, like, when I drive past an area and I see, like, trash on the side of the road and stuff, I just, like, I sometimes get the urge to just, like, walk that road and pick up trash, you know? Um, but I've never actually done it, but the thought has, like, crossed my mind to just do that on a whim, just go out one day with a trash bag and just pick that shit up. Although, I will say my lower back is not great, so leaning over to pick up every little piece of trash would murder me. So ideally, I would really need one of those, like, grabber things that they use. Like, either, I think they, like, sometimes have the pokey ones, but then they also sometimes just have, like, grabbers or whatever, but now, see, that's what goes through my head. It's like, oh, then I need one of those, and I don't have one of those, so then I guess I just won't do it, you know? And that's the problem with, like, trying to do good deeds, is it's so easy to talk yourself out of doing them, you know? But, but anyway. We had, like, the new first years, which was fun. I like that they, like, came in and they're, like, inspired by our characters. It's kind of like when the big three first showed up. Granted, we didn't know about the big three beforehand. Excuse me. So it wasn't as special to us. It was just kind of like, oh, the show is suddenly introducing us to this new thing, that's never been talked about in the show before. But the way the characters reacted, where they're like, oh, it's a big three, they're the best in the school, and stuff like that. It was like a big reveal and stuff like that. It was big. It was a big moment for them to meet meet those three and everything. So then we go into here where we have the first years showing up, and some of them are inspired to even join UA because of what our characters have done. And I like that a lot of people are fawning over Todoroki and Bakugo, and I guess that goes back to the same thing that Denki was saying, right? Where he was like, for some reason I can't find myself to root for him, and clearly there are some people that rooted for him. I like the one guy that spoke up and everything. I'm sure there's others that, like, watch that fight, and everyone who is on the side of good is praying that Midoriya wins, but for whatever reason everyone's freaking out about Todoroki and Bakugo and not Midoriya, so it's like, it's a really interesting effect that has and everything. But also, like, he looked a bit creepy in the way that he was fighting, and things got pretty intense and all that. So, and he even visibly looks more hurt than the others. So at the same time, it's like, maybe you do let him, like, heal up a little more before you start, like, hounding him too. They could be thinking that. It could be a whole bunch of things, but I am glad that at least one person spoke up to Midoriya and was like, you're my hero, kind of thing. Or at least you're my inspiration. But yeah, going into the Uraraka stuff, like, that was, it hit me a little bit. I didn't, like, my eyes watered a bit just out of, like, I don't know. Like, I get her feelings and everything, but, like, what she was sad about isn't what made me sad. I think it was just the characters coming together and helping each other is what was really beautiful, and that's what made my eyes water up a little bit. But I mean, I do understand what she's going through with, with Toga. Like, she's going through that, if things could have been different issue, right? Like, if she even said, if we would have met as kids, she might be alive right now, It is really sad to think about someone who just grew up without the proper support structure to help them, and because of that their whole life went downhill, and because of that it ended early. It's the same thing that, like, when kids grow up with, like, depression and stuff, and they hope it gets better when they get older, and then they get older and they realize that it's not getting better and they didn't get the support they needed and stuff like that, and they end up, you know, ending themselves. And it's like all that stuff is just, it's really sad that, you know, if only we could help all these people that are in pain and are struggling. And I think that's one of the beautiful things that both Midoriya and Uraraka bring to the table. Uraraka, I feel like she's always done it a little more for the heroes than the villains, whereas Midoriya has always done it a little more for the villains and like a little bit for the heroes, where, you know, Uraraka looks to the heroes and says like, who's gonna save them? But then Midoriya just looks to anybody and is just like, I want to save this person. Like Midoriya can just see people in pain and wants to save them, you know. So it's definitely interesting to see these characters try and see that and everything. And I really wonder, like, if we do get a time skip, like, do we get to kind of know what the characters are known for, or is it just a group effort where heroes are a little bit more like, you know, because I feel like the world kind of turned heroes and villains into this comic booky sort of thing, and that was one of the commentaries of the show too, is like, this isn't a comic book, these are real people and some of them just need help. And that's the thing, is like, you know, we see a lot of situations where the heroes are like, oh, I've, you know, not to make fun of All Might or anything, but I've come to defeat the villains, you know. But what about coming here to save the villains, you know? So I wonder if we're gonna see like a little bit of change of like the demeanor of heroes in like a time skip, where some of like Midoriya and Uraraka's philosophies maybe wear off on people, and maybe that can like shift hero society in certain ways. But it's also really funny, you know, we started the show with like, this is how I became the world's greatest hero, and like, either one, we haven't hit that point yet, but two, I feel like we have hit that point, but it's funny that like everyone comes in fawning over Bakugo and Todoroki, you know? And it's still not a situation where, you know, he may be the world's greatest hero, but they did change it later on. Like, I don't even know if that really matters anymore, because around the time of Uraraka's speech to UA, they said like, this is a story of how we all became the greatest of heroes, you know? And so I don't think we're ever gonna really see a scene where it's like people are lauding Midoriya as the world's greatest hero. I don't think that's a thing we're gonna see. So, you know, but yeah. Anyway, very good stuff. I'm glad all of Class A came. I guess 2A now. Whoa, you know. Even Aizawa was there keeping an eye on everyone and everything. That was really sweet. But yeah, I did really feel bad for her, feeling like she needed to keep all of her feelings in, like she was doing, and all that. So I guess we'll just have to see how things go in the next episode, whether it's a time skip or whatnot. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you did. Check out my Patreon if you want to see more. Not for this show, but I have other content on there. Links in the description below should be popping up on the screen. I'll see you guys in my future reactions. Bye-bye.